Have you ever felt demotivated to play Tarkov after a couple of good raids because you just don't want to kill the momentum? You don't want to kill the emotional high that you're having, or just decide to uninstall the game after dying multiple times in a row because Tarkov is just unfair and it's terrible. Just to go full 180 emotionally after killing a Giga Chad with 11 durability TOS in the following raid. Or maybe you just don't like the idea of your heart racing as soon as you hear a noise in a bush, just to find out it's a scav doing AI stuff. All of these emotions play a role in how you approach each raid, and if you like it or not, it's holding you back. Well, I'm here to tell you you're not alone. But our emotions are holding us back, and today we'll answer a simple question that will change the way you play. Hopefully, for the better. Forever. We start this with the simple question: why do we play the game? The obvious answer is likely along the lines of there's no game like it, or I like the challenge, or whatever we fancy telling ourselves. But let's be honest here, the answer is very easy. Tarkov makes us feel something, an emotion, good, bad, whatever keeps us going. That keeps us coming back because it releases us for a while from the emotions we feel in real life with people who actually matter, and sometimes they even have consequences. Yet we allow the game to put us in that mind state rather than giving us that escape. Do not bring your emotions of real life into this game because ultimately it is a game. It's not real life. You're going to die, you're going to respawn, and you're going to continue playing the game. And if you like it or not, you're going to be wiped at the end of the wipe anyway, and you're going to lose everything you have. You might as well use what you've got when you have it to the best of your ability and get through everything. I only play 4 hours, 5 hours of Tarkov, every week. Yet I have 10 million rubles in the bank, which isn't a lot if you compare it to everyone else, but I've got so much stuff going on that it's enough to keep me busy. It's enough to bring me back, which is the whole point. Coming back to the game because we enjoy playing it. But the next principle we try and explore, how the hell are we going to do that? We're human. It's not easy. But then again, that's very simple. Why do you feel the way you feel? Is it because you're afraid of losing gear? Is it gear fear? Or do you feel you can't get better? Do you feel like you get one-tapped all the time? Or I just want to get my tasks done to get max traders, to max out my hideout. Why does that matter? Because you want more money to get better gear so that you can just lose it at the end of the raid anyway? Where's the logic in that? So what am I trying to say? You're going to lose everything you have anyway. You might as well go in, play aggressive, not sit in a bush with the best guns you have. And if you go to zero, you go to zero. And then you start over. And then you continue to start over 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And if you continue to play the game, I can guarantee you that you're going to get better at managing everything that you need to manage to get what you want eventually. And there's already evidence for that. Look at all the streamers out there. Look at someone like Willow Z. The guy is just insane in this game. His technical, mechanical abilities, it's unmatched. Yet he's got 15,000 hours in this game. This game's been out for many years. I've only have 800. I can't expect to be on that same level. Yet, emotionally, when you think about it, you've got this idea in your mind is, I want to play that way. Or I want to be able to wipe lobbies. I want to get to 1 billion like HyperRat did recently. You need to face the fact that you're probably not going to do that if you don't do this full time. So you need to set your expectations. Principle number 2. You get into the game and you're like, wow, okay, I just killed a Giga Chad, or I went on a scav run and I got Meta M4 with a hex grid and phenomenal ammo, and I've just got a great kick. I've got like 1 million plus loadout. I'm just going to put it in my stash and I'm going to leave it there for a while because I want to wait for the right raid to do it. If I go full PvP, or if I have to do a very difficult task, or if I have to go kill raiders, I want the best armor that I can have. See, that's the issue. Because one, if you go up against a guy with level 5 armor, with stupid armor and stupid guns with low pen and no damage, even if you shoot first, you might still die. That happens to me all the time. If you're going with the best gear you have every single time, the probability of you succeeding in encounters like that increases by default. So yes, always use your best gear when you can, unless you're going to go and try something stupid that's going to get you killed and you feel like you don't want to use it. That's perfectly fine. I do it all the time. The issue is with the mental state that you're going into this. Don't want to use my best gear because I don't want to use it. Let's just think about the logic of that. I don't want to lose gear that I'm going to lose anyway at the end of the wipe. Or inevitably when you come up against a 3-stack in factory. The point is you're putting boundaries about what you're allowing yourself to experience in the game because you're afraid of losing what you've collected. And that doesn't make sense because you're going to lose it anyway. The inevitability of death is there regardless. And the same thing applies to the game. There's no point in you trying to save up for something constantly just to never use it. There's a balance between saving and living, and the same applies to the game. Using your best gear every single time you go into a raid is going to put you in a better position to do better, first of all. Second of all, if that doesn't work and you lose all your gear and you go to 0, who cares? It's a game. You're going to go to 0 anyway. As a matter of fact, even if you go to 0, that's the worst that you can get to, because when wipe comes, you're going to get all of your starting stuff anyway. Try things, do things. There's no point in holding on to things that you're going to lose anyway. The logic just doesn't make sense. Finally, and this is purely focused on emotions and how you approach a game. When you look at some of the live streamers that have thousands of hours on them, you look at them and when they die, you don't see emotion. You don't see frustration. You don't see, them going full aggro, throwing around keyboards. Sometimes it does happen. But the vast majority of the time, those with thousands of hours in this game do not even react. And the reason for that is they've already been numb to what's happening to them in each raid. They've done it so many times, they've got so much experience that it doesn't bother them anymore. Interestingly, when you look at all of them, those are usually the people or the streamers that's got hundreds of millions of rubles in the bank. And the reason for that is they go in and they always run meta stuff because they've got the money. But they didn't start off that way, the same way you're not going to start off that way. They've just played the game a lot, made peace with how Tarkov operates, being Tarkov, getting one tapped by a scav, or dying to a rat with a pistol from a bush at an extract point. They've already made peace with that, which means that every single time they go into a raid, that thousands of hours that they've spent, they go in with a calm and collected mindset, which means if they get into gunfights, they're prepared because they've probably experienced it before, or they're ready for it. They don't run away, because there's nothing worse than getting killed after running away or retreating rather than being aggressive and dying. The problem is the problem we have with Tarkov is not that we die, it's how we die. But we refuse to admit that sometimes it's our own fault. If you're not aggressive enough, you might die. If you're too aggressive, you might die, and you need to find the balance. And the only way you're going to find that balance is if you go into every single raid with a mindset with knowing that this might not work out and being happy and pleased with that. If you combine that with what I said earlier, if you take the best loadouts you have and you continue to do that over time, before you know it, you're going to start figuring out exactly how you play. What guns, what loadouts, what gear works for you and how to get it. What, when you loot, you should keep because you've got a cheap barter for a piece of gear that you're going to use, or attachment that you're going to use for the gun you like using. It's very simple. To summarize this entire video as 3 principles. 1, Tarkov is a video game. Don't treat it like real life. You're doing yourself a disservice. 2, gear is going to be lost regardless of if you keep it in your stash or not. Why on earth would you not use it? And 3, become numb to the negative consequences from playing this video game and focus on the positives. Because let's be honest, let's say you've had 1,000 raids. Which are the ones that you remember? The one when you took out a squad with a getter? Or the one where you randomly died in a bush from someone sitting in a tree on customs? You probably don't remember the last one because that probably happens all the time. So you don't remember all of those instances. The reason you come back to this game is for that Chad killing expedition with the kidder that got you all that good gear, which you could then use later. In summary, Tarkov's a game. It's demanding, emotionally, time. But how you feel about it over the long run is within your control. And the point of this video is to make sure you don't forget that. Happy raiding. Thanks for listening. Take care.